Okay, now let me open this up. I'm joined by my colleague Shubhendu Ghosh from Washington DC, and apart from that, we're also joined by our esteemed guests, expert guests, Ashok Sajanhar, former senior diplomat, joining us. Also, Professor Anshu Joshi, School of International Studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Good morning to you all. First to you, Shubhendu. It's turning out to be a long night, which might stretch into the day the way things are turning out. Although right now, if you look at the projections, it seems that Donald Trump is way ahead. But isn't this all so far along expected lines, and the numbers could change?
That's right, Gautam. Good evening from Washington, D.C., capital of the United States. Yes, just a cursory glance on the projections as they're coming in might show that Donald Trump appears to be sweeping ahead, but these are still on the expected lines. He's sweeping ahead in the states where, the red states in particular, and we will really have to wait and watch, look at the swing states in particular, and the manner in which those pan out. Those will be the results which will be something that one has to look out for. Pennsylvania, for example, could play a crucial role in determining who is going to be the next leader. Right now, I'm at Howard University. It's spelled as Howard, Howard University. This alma mater of Vice President Kamala Harris. It's a festive atmosphere here. In a short while from now, she's expected to reach the venue. This is where the election party night is going to be, the election watch night as they call it, when the candidates finally hang their boots and they look at the numbers and the projections as they come in. A lot of students, a lot of former colleagues of hers, they're all gathering here. They're all going into the space where they'll be sitting together and looking at the projections. Outside there is music. There are posters supporting Kamala Harris. Already some of them calling her as Madam President. So the atmosphere is pretty boosted here. But of course, those projections are just coming in. Donald Trump seems to be doing well on the expected lines, but we'll have to wait and watch till the projections and the numbers from the swing states pour in. Gautam?
Yes, certainly. And just tell us in terms of how these projections might be read so far, where you are at Howard College, where perhaps the entire Kamala Harris camp is going to be pretty soon crowding out that particular area, where they will then look at the numbers every passing moment.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, it seems like a festive atmosphere here. Hundreds of people who are going to attend this particular special night of vote counting have already entered a short while ago, till about half an hour ago, an hour ago. This place was buzzing with people. They've all gone inside. You need a special pass to be able to sit at the same space as the Vice President and look at the projections and celebrate along with her. So the mood right now is that of celebration, but yes, as the projections come in, especially of the blue states, of the swing states, we'll have to see if the music that is played out quite loud right now, if that's going to go down. But right now, people here, the supporters, the alumni of the college, they're pretty kicked. This is where Vice President Kamala Harris studied political science and economics, graduated in the year 1986. It's one of the first time that such a big event, an election night counting, is being organized at the university. The head of the university said it's a matter of great privilege. Kamala Harris already is a very illustrious alumni of this institution, and now the big night could be historic for America as a whole. She could possibly be the first woman president of the United States of America if results pan out in her favor. But for now, those initial projections should be making the Democrats a little concerned. But again, these are on expected lines. We'll have to see how are the swing states playing as far as the counting is concerned. Gautam?
Yes, certainly. Let me bring in Professor Anshu Joshi of the SIS at JNU, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Sajanhar. Professor Joshi, what do you make of the prospect right now of both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris? Because the numbers, the projections are coming in thick and fast, but as far as the results go, we're quite a long time off still from getting the first results.
Gautam, at the moment it is very difficult to say or speculate anything, because many times we have seen that these early speculations could be misleading also. and we are not even standing at the last step of the very complex US elections, though the elections are very critical not only for United States of America but for global politics as well. And right now entire world is looking at these elections, but this is like last but one step wherein people are casting their votes to choose their electors, 538 in numbers, and these electors are going to form electors college. This college will finally elect the President of United States of America in the month of December, and the oath taking ceremony is going to happen, or the results would be announced in the month of January 2025. So at the moment, Gautam, it is very difficult to say anything, but the kind of news reports that are coming in clearly indicate that Trump is having a lead so far so over Kamala Harris, and the focus, and especially I'm looking at those 7 swing states that are going to play a crucial, a critical role in deciding who is going to become the next president of United States of America, especially the state of Pennsylvania with the 19 electoral votes, and then North Carolina having 16 electoral votes. And there are then 5 other important states, swing states. They will decide who is going to become the president of United States of America. But we all have we all have read the reports today morning that Trump is having an edge in the state of Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia. And the news reports also claim that Republicans are going to have both seats in Virginia after 1958 for the first time. So it's really significant. On the other hand, Harris is having an edge in other states like Vermont and Connecticut. But these are only speculations, Gautam. So we will have to wait until the month of January or first week of January when we would be able to say something like in a clear-cut manner. Right now, these are only speculations. But yes, we can see that on the other hand, we can see that Trump is having an edge to become the next president of United States of America.
Right, right. If I could come to you now, Ashok Sajjanhar, while Professor Joshi was speaking, again, the numbers seem to have changed. So we're on old numbers right now. It's 101 for Trump and 71 for Harris. And the way these projections are coming in right now, it's seeing 12% has been reported in the case of Pennsylvania, where Kamala Harris has a tremendous lead for now as far as this contest is concerned with Donald Trump.
Me on the show. You're right. Meaning these are early leads. So, of course, early leads can solidify. But
do they generally bear out? If we look at the history of elections in the US, do such projections, these leads, do they bear out in the ultimate count, in the final results?
By and large, Gautam, they bear out. By and large, they bear out. But of course, there can be aberrations. There can be sort of, changes that take place. And that is what I was coming to right now. And actually, Shubhendu might be able to sort of, guide us on this a little more, because what I understand is that first it is the mail-in, voters, mail-in ballots that are being counted. So if it is, as you mentioned in Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris has taken a lead. It was said, that there are a large number of women, young women, and in mail-in ballots, it is the women that have participated in a much more active manner. Out of the about 82 million early voting that took place, there was about 55% that was by women and about 45% by men. So, it is to be expected that in Pennsylvania, if it is the mail-in votes that are being counted first, that, Kamala Harris would take a lead initially. But we'll have to wait and see. The other point that I want to make is that, what you have mentioned, first you mentioned 90 leads for Donald Trump, 27 for Kamala Harris, now about 100 plus for Donald Trump and 70 odd for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's according to AP.
These are basically trends. These are basically leads in the traditional red and blue states. So that means, it's nothing surprising, because it is only in terms of the counting that is taking place in some of the states, which is taking place faster. So, the results, the projections are coming in quicker. But otherwise, what you had shown earlier, which was, as we were discussing yesterday also, that the blue states are 224, which give Kamala Harris 224 electoral votes. She needs 46 more. As far as the red states are concerned, they give Donald Trump 219, and he needs 51 more. So I think there is nothing really to get for the Kamala Harris camp, nothing to get perturbed about it that, Donald Trump is leading, because he's leading in red states. He's not, being able to flip over any of the blue states as per the indications. So we'll really have to wait and see how it goes. But I agree that it is the battleground states which are really going to call the shots as we progress during the course of the day. And you've given first indications in Pennsylvania, so we'll really have to wait and see how the...
I'll give you another one. Georgia. 61.7% of the estimated vote tallied. Trump has 52.7 and Harris has 46.7. So I've given you two battleground states, one for Harris, it's too early although, and the other for Trump.
Yeah, basically, it was Biden was able to flip by a mere 12,000 votes last time in 2020. So if Kamala Harris is able to retain it, I think it will be huge. It will mean that, she'll not have to depend on the great lake states, the
blue wall states.
Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, the blue wall states. So she'll not have to depend completely on that. She will have some maneuvering margins. She'll have some maneuvering leverage if she's able to flip either, keep Georgia and get also North Carolina.
Trump is leading right now in Georgia.
Trump is leading in Georgia.
Yes.
Okay, so it's again flipped as we have seen, because earlier you said it was Kamala Harris which was leading, but now it is Trump which is leading. And if he's able to flip, then of course it makes the race, Gotham, that much tighter for Kamala Harris. That means she has to capture the three blue wall states, which give her 19 in Pennsylvania, which gives her 15 in Michigan and 10 in Wisconsin. But still, she will need a little more to get to the 46 electoral college votes that she is asking for. 10 more votes, which she'll have to get from the other four battleground states. I think it's important to keep in mind also, Gautam, that last time Biden was able to capture 6 out of these 7 battleground states. So it is going to be a little tough as we go, because Kamala Harris will have to do the capture the blue wall states, and then also look at something else. Arizona is been voting, at least the surveys and the poll preferences seem to indicate that Trump has a lead there. Trump has an edge. So I think Arizona can really safely, 10 votes of Arizona can be safely moved out of there. So out of the 93, we have only 83, from which Kamala Harris has to get 46. So really, we'll have to wait and see how counting pans out in the coming hours.
Okay, just stay with me, Professor Joshi, as well as Mr. Sajjad. Let me once again go back to Shubhendu Ghosh, who's at Howard University, where we're expecting Kamala Harris to turn up for her election watch party. Just stay there, hunker down, and watch the results or the projections. Right now, of course, we're talking about projections as they come in, and then perhaps at some point either claim victory or concede defeat. That moment is still quite far away, isn't it, Shubhendu?
Absolutely, there is still time. We were talking about the ballots and the votes, Gautam. As I understand, the states, unlike India...
It looks like the crowd is building up behind you, Shubhendu. If you could just give us a good sense of where you're standing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I can give you a picture of how people are gathering, more and more people are coming in. A short while ago, hundreds of people had already entered the venue. They have a special pass that allows them to go inside. Many of them are students of Howard University. Many alumni, they've all come to meet their very illustrious alumni who's already the vice president, but she is now gunning for the highest office here in the United States, for the position of the president. Excited students there, they'd like to see one of their alumni get the top job, but the counting is still on. Inside is a festive atmosphere. There's music being played. Kamala Harris speaks of Harvard University as a very, very special place. Her alma mater, this is where she studied her basics of politics and economics. She talks about this is a place which really drove her ambition and also the idea of service into her. And she's been in touch even in her professional career and political career. She has been coming back to this very special university, and the head of the university talks about how they're very proud of her alumni, and never before such an event has taken place in the university premises on the vote counting night. So big day for Kamala Harris, and also big day for the students who've all gathered here for a memorable night, hoping that things will pan out in their favor. But coming to real politics, the counting of the ballots, we understand that each of the states have their own rules of counting the ballots. Many count them later. First, the electronic votes and the ballots that are taken in today on the election day are counted first. The early voting and the ballots are taken in later. Each of the states decide for themselves, and that's how the ballots proceed. So in that sense, certain projections that we see right now could be projections of today of the election day. But soon what happened in the early voting, what happened in the postal ballot, mind you, many also participated in elections through the postal ballot. It's just that the postal ballot take time to process. They have to verify the document. They have to make sure that it's authentic in every manner, signature, document. And those processes take a little more time. And therefore, postal ballot results take a little more time for come in as compared to, say, electronic voting, whose results data is just fed into the system. So in that sense, projections is what we are looking at the moment. At Harvard is a festive mood, but we'll have to see how the night progresses and how does that impact the mood here.
Yes, definitely. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought that there is some kind of a concert going on over there, because the crowd is young and they're clearly quite enthused by the fact that they might see history in the making today. The first woman president of the United States, if that were to happen, and of course a woman of color as well, of mixed descent, part Indian and part African American. So that is something that can turn out to be quite remarkable. Anshu Joshi, we were talking earlier. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shubhendu. We're getting
if I may just add,
yes.
because you mentioned about because you mentioned about Kamala Harris's legacy as a woman of color, possibly has a chance to become the next president. This university also is particularly known for the kind of support, kind of infrastructure it offers to students of color here in the United States. It is seen as a safe haven, a place of aspirational youngsters, especially from the colored background. So in that sense, this aspiration to get to the top office, not just for Kamala Harris, but of the entire community here. And that is what we're experiencing here at the moment. The music, the excitement, the energy of the place, all contributing to this whole aspirational value of not just one person, but the entire community. Gautam?
Well, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if come admission season in, I guess, in spring, because there are 2 seasons normally for admissions in US universities, a major port of call for students worldwide too, foreign students, might become Howard University as well. What do you make of that prospect, Professor Anshu Joshi?
Gautam, I would like to comment on, or would just add to what you had just said few minutes back about Harris. If at all she wins the elections, and if she becomes if she gets to become the next president of America, definitely it's going to be a history, as in, the first woman president of United States of America, and that too, like a woman of color. I mean, having her roots from India as well as from Africa, America, as we can see the visuals also, you can see a diversified community of students here representing different races, different religions, of course, different types of communities and so on. But they are having a similar kind of aspiration, and that's where Kamala Harris comes into the picture, because at the moment, this is how I can see both the candidates keeping apart their ideologies, or for that matter, parties. If we look at both these faces of Kamala Harris, on the other hand, Donald Trump, actually Harris represents those who believe in this woke culture, or Generation Z, when she speaks about laws related to abortion, the kind of approach that she is having related to climate change containment, or for that matter, sustainable development. There, she is different from Donald Trump, and there actually we can see why and how the fervor coming from the new generation or the younger generation, and why this Generation Z is speaking in favor of Kamala Harris. On the other hand, when we look at the face of Trump, we have already seen his tenure as the President of United States of America, and if at all he manages to become the next President of United States of America, again, it is going to be a history like consecutively, like last time he could not manage to win. This time, if he manages to become the President of America, again, it will be like a new chapter. So all eyes on what would be the results. But again, I would say the same thing. It is very early to say anything at the moment, though we are looking at the projections. But the candidate who would be able to manage his or her traditional red or blue, state, along with flipping the, the rivals state, I think, and mostly things depend on these seven swing states, I would say. And we are coming across the projections coming from Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Georgia. But what about Arizona and states like Michigan and Nevada? They are very important, very crucial in deciding who will become the next president of United States of America.
Well, yes, certainly. And this is, again, we have more projections coming in. New York projected for Harris. That has 28 electoral votes, a fairly substantial kitty there. But again, Trump has got Louisiana. Again, these are projections, 8 electoral votes. And there's Kansas as well, which has been projected in favor of Donald Trump with 6 electoral votes. That's according to Fox News. So all these updates are coming in, Mr. Ashok Sajanhar, and we can see on the screen as well. Right now for Donald Trump, the projection is 154 electoral votes as opposed to 27 for Harris, and these are the projections that are being given by Reuters. Of course, figures are varying from other sources as well, and we are trying to get you something which is more conservative at this moment in terms of how things are being projected, because projections otherwise are stretching to as much as 120 for Trump and 99 for Harris as well. Ashok Sajanhar, what do you make of how things are panning out right now? It seems red is staying red and blue is staying blue.
Yes, that's right. So far, red is staying red, blue is staying blue. And of course, in terms of the counting that is there, I think it ranges anything from, the leads are being given. Even if 1% of the votes have been counted, the leads are there. If 4% have been counted, the leads are there. 55% have been counted, the leads are there. So, meaning I think these leads also need to be taken in terms of how much of the voting that has been done, and as a result of which these leads are being offered. Because, anything about 4 to 10% of, votes counted, there could be a change. But, the bottom line is that, as you put it very rightly, and I fully agree with you, red is staying red, blue is staying blue. There has been no change so far, no flip at all. And the map that you have shown, Gautam, you see the Midwest, you see the Rust Belt. As it is, it was expected that this is going to be the the red playground, and the blue playground is basically on the two coastal areas. The eastern part, New York and Massachusetts and all, Connecticut and all the other areas. And here, as far as the western seaboard is concerned, you have California and Washington and some of the other states, on this side. So, but basically the real issue will be on the battleground states, and that is where I'm sure the eyes of the whole world are riveted, the whole world are focused, and we will see the trends. And trends, I'm sure, there are going to be much more volatile. They are going to be changing very quickly, as you mentioned also yourself, in one of the states. First, Kamala Harris is leading, and then Donald Trump leads, because that is really, when we call this election a neck and neck battle, absolutely, it is keeping everyone on tenterhooks, because these are the states, 93 electoral college votes. They are really ultimately going to determine who the future occupant of the White House is going to be. Total number might be 538, but out of that, we have seen 224 plus 219, 440 or so. They are, quite accounted for. It is only the 90 plus votes that people are focusing on. So we'll really have to wait and see. And of course, along with it, Gautam, there is also the total House of Representatives, 435 congressmen who are also being elected. There are also 34 senators who are being elected, and there are also about 10 governors who are being elected, in addition to voting on so many other specific issues like abortion, like the use of marijuana, and all that sort of things, in which about 10 states, they are also participating.
Yes, these are all the issues that are on the ballot. But let's talk about why there's blue staying blue and red staying red, and just everything hinging on these battleground states, Professor Joshi, because why is the American polity so divided now? It was divided to a certain extent even earlier, but the division is very sharp and very even now, 50-50. It just seems you just have to shift a bunch of voters, and then the entire election can swing one way or the other. Why is that the case?
Gautam, it is a very clear-cut division when it comes to the by parties that exist in and their ideologies that exist in United States of America. So much so, Gautam, that even industrialists are, clear-cut, in a very clear-cut way, they are lobbied. And we have seen in past few days that how they are coming up in support of their chosen ones or the parties they support. So be it
We're
about
just
industrialists.
showing, just for the benefit of our viewers, I just wanted to interrupt you to tell you that we're showing images now of the Trump watch party at West Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, his resort there, which is also his second home. The other one, of course, being in New York. This is the Trump watch party. Lots of supporters gathered there as well. And more will be coming in, not just from within this particular region or from Miami or from the state of Florida, but from even outside, including people from Washington, D.C., a lot of people such as the House Leader, the Speaker will be coming there, Mike Johnson will be coming there, and lots of other people as well will be joining Donald Trump. I believe Elon Musk is also one of them who's going to be there. Professor Joshi, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just trying to explain that the two parties and the kind of system, political system that United States of America has, actually both the parties represent by and large the two ideologies that exist in the world as well. So that is why, and that is where we can see that, be it about a common man or the industrialists, or for that matter media, everybody has their own clear-cut ideology, and they don't have any confusion. So when we look at Republicans, we know, I mean, they have an image, the kind of ideology they follow, their policy. So we know that from where does it come. And when it comes to economy, we know that what kind of policies the Republicans follow. On the other hand, when we look at Democrats, we clearly, I mean, they reflect the left face of the nation. So that is why I had stated earlier that when we look at Kamala Harris right now, she is representing this younger generation, women voters, people who believe in this diversity of gender, people who believe in wokeism and so on. So people in America, they are quite mature when it comes to the ideologies to follow, and that is why we can see that what Ambassador Sajjanhal was also discussing, that it's very difficult to flip the conventional or traditional red or blue state. So in America, that is where, because of having this bipartisan system and having only two political parties and with clear-cut ideologies, with clear-cut policies, which are not flipped like with time. So we can see that people stick to the party they follow or the candidates they follow.
Certainly. Mr. Sajjanhar, if I could come to you again, we put out the numbers there, 154.30 according to Reuters right now. But these numbers could change. These are still projections. And of course, again, we see how red is saying red and blue is saying blue. But what are your thoughts on why this sort of a divide where even polls couldn't tell us whether it will be Donald Trump or Harris there?
Excellent question. Let me make 2 points here. Number one is that the US elections, if you look at the last, quarter of a century from, 2000 onwards, they have been very close elections. It's not that, barring the election in 2008 when Barack Obama had a landslide victory over John McCain, in which he won, I think, close to about 400 electoral college votes. All the other elections have been, by and large, very closely contested. The memory, of course, goes back to 2000 when George W. Bush won over Al Gore through a decision of the Supreme Court, in which he was declared a winner merely by 532 votes in Florida, because we knew so many of those voting ballots. There were chads and there were, some ballots which would not be accepted. So 532 votes was the margin which really brought George W. Bush for the first time in 2001 to the White House. And after that also 2004, I was in Washington, D.C. at that time. And when George W. Bush came in again to occupy the White House, that was also a very close election. And we, of course, know what has happened in 2020. We also know what has happened in 2016. 2016, it was Hillary Clinton and the Democrats who thought that they were winning, and it was a very close election. And although Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but then she lost the electoral college vote. While in that was 2016. In 2020, we had the highest voter turnout, which I'm told could be overtaken by the voting this time, because both the sides, since it's such a polarized election, both the sides appear to be very, very charged. And 2020 also, it was a very close call, and it really boiled down only to these battleground states. That having been said, I think what really makes this election so difficult to call and makes it so very polarized is also because of the personality of one of the protagonists, that is Donald Trump. He is a disruptor. He is an insurgent. He is, going against all the norms that have been established. You look at the language that he uses in terms of, not only as far as the opponent is concerned, but even as far as women are concerned, as far as, his misogynistic approach to the whole thing. So I think that charges up his own base, but it also, causes revulsion in his opposition. Kamala Harris has, been able to maintain a very civil and a very civilized and a very cordial tone, although, hitting out strongly as far as the issues are concerned on economy, on gender, on immigration, etc., and on preservation of democracy, which she says is, going to be under threat, which the Democrats say is going to be under threat if Trump were to come back to power. So I think the polarizing figure, because earlier, whenever you saw, whether it was George W. Bush and Al Gore or Senator John Kerry and John McCain and all the others, they have all been, there are certain norms according to which you conduct yourself in terms of, this in the presidential polls, in the field of politics. But Mr. Trump, he doesn't believe in any such norms. And that is what I think has caused this polarization. And if it is so polarized, the whole atmosphere is so polarized, then of course it forces, it energizes, it enthuses the supporters of the two incumbents to come out onto the field, come out onto the voting booths in much larger numbers. And I think that is what we are witnessing today.
Yes,
Gautam.
certainly. It was interesting that you mentioned that most elections since 2000 have been closed, except for the one between McCain and Obama, which Obama won with a landslide. But Professor Joshi, uh, hasn't the US of 2000 changed quite a lot demographically till 2024? So much so that immigration and illegal immigration has become a major election issue, which is what is the reason that this is not being reflected in the kind of elections that the US has been having through the years?
That's a wonderful question, Gautam, and it is not only about United States of America. When you look around the world, you would see that how demographically, or for that matter, ideologically, because of the intervention of latest technologies, the world has changed by and large. And the same can be seen in United States of America also. And when it comes to the kind of people now who are living in US enabled by latest technologies and the kind of challenges being posed on United States of America because of people also, you would see that the new challenges have cropped up, and that is where one of the most important themes picked by both the candidates comes into the picture, which is related to immigration. That's where Trump seems to be really harsh and very stringent because he knows, or for that matter, people from America know that how this, issue of illegal immigration, particularly between United States of America and Mexico, is causing immense problems when it comes to for United States of America in terms of its security and safety. So that's where Trump is very strict when it comes to this illegal immigration in particular. But by and large, you see that how demography also has changed in United States of America. And here I would like to bring into the picture the kind of skilled professionals who are living in United States of America, who basically come from India. So all the engineers, doctors, and other skilled professionals. And here Trump is talking about hire in America, which is kind of creating a question mark or apprehensions among the Indians who are living in United States of America at the moment. And definitely this particular kind of the policy proposed by Trump would definitely impact the voting or the Indian voters who are going to vote. So these are all examples that people from diversified sections of not only United States of America but from rest of the world are also having a say in the politics of United States of America at present. And definitely it has changed since 2000s, and the kind of claims being made by both the candidates here would play a critical role. For example, when it comes to the proposed policies related to immigration, wherein Harris seems to be a bit, relaxed, while Trump is coming up with the harsh statements, would definitely impact Latino voters. On the other hand, in the area of economic policies, wherein Trump is proposing make America great again, he's talking about make in America thing, and he's also talking about hire in America. So definitely it is going to impact the Indian voters or the other skilled people who are living in America at the moment and having their rights to vote. And then there is another kind of what should I say section. For example, you look at the younger generation and women voters. So when this theme or this issue related to abortion is coming into the picture, there also it's going to play a very important role in deciding who is going to become the president of United States of America. Climate change containment is another issue. We all know that when Trump became the president of United States of America, he took a very lenient view of, related to sustainable development, or when it came to the policies related to pollution. He also withdrew United States of America from Paris Agreement at the moment. It
Yes.
was a very critical decision, and later it was reversed when Biden became the president of United States of America. last but not the least, foreign policy, wherein Trump is talking about ending the wars. So definitely people who belong to the countries that are indulged into war and they are living in United States of America at the moment, having their right to vote, definitely this kind of a policy being proposed or statements given by Trump would play a decisive picture or a decisive role. So definitely US has changed in terms of the people who are living in or are going to cast their votes in United States of America. At the same time, Gautam, technology also has played a critical role in shaping the nations that look like what they are at present. So a lot of things have changed, but ideologies remain the same. So it would be interesting to see because the ideologies are intact with both the parties, both the candidates. So there it would be interesting to see that what ideologies the voters pick at the end of the day.
Certainly, and again, that has divided America down the middle. Let's just take a look at a graphic that we made for you, where we can show you which way which state has been leaning, and this is something that tells us where some of these states are completely sold, where Democrats are concerned. But then there are other states, fewer in number, that lean Democrat, but not very strongly. Then competitive states are the ones that are now also referred to as swing states or battleground states. Then there are lean Republican states and then solid Republicans. So the Republican side of the scale, if you just look at it in terms of how this table is working out, looks heavier. But there are very, very heavy states which are solidly Democratic, such as California, which has the highest number of electoral votes, 54 of them, and even New York is pretty substantial, although there's Texas, which is on the solid Republican side, which is again the second highest in numbers as far as electoral votes are concerned. Even Florida with 30 electoral votes, where Trump is right now in West Palm Beach, in Mar-a-Lago, that too is a substantial number. So that's how these states have been stacked up of late in the US. Now let's talk about the biggest issue, as it seemed to have been emerging. But if you look at exit polls now, another issue emerged even bigger than that, the issue of democracy. But let's talk about the economy, Ashok Sajjanhar. If we look at how economy has been talked about in these elections, if you believe the Democrats, the economy is doing great. The US is among the faster growing developed countries. The jobs situation is great. People are making decent money as well. They're doing better economically. They're better off compared to the way things were in 2020. And of course, we've got the Fed cutting rates as well. Another cut might be coming right after the election, even before perhaps the final results come in. So inflation is in control as well. But if you look at what Donald Trump is saying, he's saying that the American economy is in the doldrums. It's gone to the dogs, and people are much worse off than they were when he was himself president. So who do you believe?
Yeah, no, I think that is one of the most critical issues, that always decides elections. If you remember, whether it was Bill Clinton or it was George H.W. Bush, and, their famous quip that they had made, it is the economy stupid, because it is the economy which really determines which way the people are going to vote, how much money they have in their pockets, how they are able to supply, their kitchens and their dining tables with food for their families, education, healthcare, housing, etc. These are very, very important issues. And this is what, Donald Trump has been tapping in. Because, I could look at it on two perspectives. One is, as far as the broad figures are concerned, what you said very rightly, at the macro level, the US economy seems to be doing quite well. It is 2% plus growth. Even the Fed has brought down rates. The inflation also seems to be under control, etc., etc. But that is the overall figure, that is the overall level. But if you look at the individuals, particularly, you're showing this map where we see the red states, and those are the Midwest states. And
Yes,
one comment, if
but
I
the
may.
color is the color. Let me just add, is completely bold in both the cases, red and blue. So that indicates red is red, blue is blue. Had it been flipped, there would have been these diagonal lines across it. So they are not there anywhere right now on the map.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, the point that I wanted to make is that the population in these states, although, the territorial area, the geographical area that they might occupy is very large, as you can see, the central part of the United States. But the population is low, so that the number of electoral college votes that they send to Washington, D.C. for the final decision, that is much lesser. And that is why, when you had shown your own chart also, Gautam, you showed that, there are about 20, 30 of the states which are going the Trump way, which are the red states. But in terms of numbers, they are just, 10, 8 electoral college votes. But that having been said, coming to the economy, as far as this area is concerned, these are the people who have lost jobs. They are the white males without education, without college degrees. Earlier, they used to have, much more, their average income, their average salaries were much greater than the normal salary in the United States. This is of the white males in the Midwest, because these were the blue collar jobs. Now all the blue collar jobs have disappeared. They have all gone to China. And that is what Trump was able to tap in 2016. And
I
what
mean, the issue of US steel became so big that you had Harris saying that it will stay with the US will continue to own it and it's not being sold to Japan.
No, absolutely. I think that was what he was able to do in 2016. And he says that, his track record of the economy was very good. The inflation was low, housing was low, there was no problem, investments were coming in, jobs were there, and he had been able to push back against China. Today, what is happening? After that, we saw that COVID-19 pandemic came, and the United States has still not been able to get out of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. So
and that was followed by the war in Ukraine, which had its
war
own
in Ukraine,
add-on,
yes,
which brought
absolutely,
its own add-on misery.
absolutely, energy prices, etc. That has added on. So I think while the headline numbers might be look quite impressive, but at the level, at the micro level, people are feeling the impact, feeling the pinch of the economy not doing well for them. Housing is more expensive, inflation is huge. They are not able to get decent paying jobs for themselves. So I think there are all these problems. Trump has a track record which says that I will come and I will set it right. As far as Harris is concerned, she has some plans. She says middle income groups, I will give them housing loans. But then Trump asks, okay, if you had these plans, you had 4 years to do them. Why didn't you do it at that time? So I think she has her back to the wall, and economy, of course, is playing an important part, even as far as the immigrants are concerned. The young immigrants are concerned. Many of them are going for Trump because they have greater faith in Trump in terms of his economic policies.
Right, it does look that way, which is why even when you have the changing demographics and white America sort of falling, giving space or giving way to a more colored America, yet the polity remains as divided as ever, because the issues at the core are pan-American and they affect everyone in multiple ways, and people are feeling the pinch where the economy is concerned. People are concerned about illegal immigration. Everybody is concerned about it. Anybody who is a legal citizen, and legal citizens are the ones who have the vote. They are the ones who are concerned about it. So these are the two big issues. And the issue of democracy being under threat, being in danger. Anshu Joshi, Professor Joshi, do you feel that that is something that has also had resonance with people, because that is something that the Democrats talked about a lot in the context of Agenda 2025, which Donald Trump disowned?
Gautam, what is when we talk about what is there when we talk about democratic values, or for that matter, democracy? So when the day-to-day life of a common man of any country is good, when the person is having a house, good food to eat, a good job to go for, and peace and security. Then we can say that democratic values, and when of course the person has a freedom to express his or her views. So democratic values by and large revolve around all these things, actually the day-to-day life of a common man. And that's where we have seen that in past 4 years, how when particularly it comes to the economy of United States of America under the leadership of Biden, and of course Kamala Harris, because she has been the vice president of the nation got involved into two big wars. First and foremost, this Russia-Ukraine war started, and we all know that indirectly it's a war between Russia and United States of America. And on the other hand, we saw that how this Israel-Hamas conflict started. Not only started, the other countries, neighboring countries, are also getting involved into the war. And we all know that there also indirectly it is kind of a war between United States of America and Iran at the moment. And we all have seen that how under the leadership of Biden, he actually fueled up both the conflicts. So that actually has impacted not only the economy at the macro level of the nation, but also day-to-day lives of common people living in United States
Yes,
of
so
America
all these
at
issues
micro level.
are coming together and making it a very, very contested election, and that is what is playing out where these numbers are also concerned. The projections, of course, right now favoring Donald Trump, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Thank you for joining us, Professor Joshi. I believe Ashok Sajjanhar too had to go, so we have said a good night to him as well, or a good morning rather. And we will keep our continuous coverage of the US elections going. This is an election that is going down to the wire. It's just the beginning right now of the uncertainty that we may have to contend with. So keep watching DD India.